And we're live. Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm your host, Steven, and today we are getting into a blind flight. The blindest of flights. Had to make sure I had my water before we got super serious into this. And we'll call it the control whiskey. Control whiskey of the night, Cooper's Craft 100. 100 proof Kentucky bourbon. There we go. All right. I'm ready to start drinking tonight. It's been a day. It has been a day. How's everyone out there in chat doing, by the way? All right. Got your drinking buddy in the house. Cheers. Well, see you later, man. Sugar Kitty in the house. Cheers. Got Hanging AZ dropping the Your Drinking Buddy link. So thank you so much for that. Go ahead and check him out. The flight I will be doing today is from him. And I also sent him a flight as well as on a non-personal plug, corporate work related, not super corporate, but work related. He's also going to be doing some reviews of a lot of our whiskeys at the distillery since he's down in Tucson, so he's close by. We met up the other day. Let me get caught up. Peter White, cheers. Nice to see ya. Glad that everything's doing better hanging. Anthony James in the house. Hola. Nice to see you, man. Control whiskey. Cooper's Craft 100. We're going to start drinking tonight. It's been a day. It's been a day. Oh, man. Does anyone ever have the issue where your lips are super chapped, so when you drink whiskey, it like kind of like burns almost like putting alcohol in a cut? Because that's where I'm at. I went camping over the weekend, and now I got a little bit of a chapped lips, a little burnt lip thing going on. So that is a little unexpectedly spicy on the lips. Let's see here. What is going on? Okay, there we go. Let me get caught up on the rest, and then we'll just start drinking more. Where did you find Cooper's Craft? That was Georgia. So yeah, nowhere here. Can't get Cooper's in Utah. It's Brown-Forman, right? Yeah. It's Brown-Forman, and honestly, it's the best like $30 Brown-Forman I've ever found. It's pretty freaking spectacular. It is. I would put it on par with like the Old Forester bottled and bond, like the Whiskey Row series line. But whereas this is $30, that is like 50 now. So definitely worth the money. Yeah, and that's where I'm at. So we'll see how this flight goes. I mean, either which way. I don't know here. Man, I've been so freaking busy. I haven't even filmed my video for next week yet. Let's see here. Yeah, I haven't even had the chance to look. I know he's already filmed the video, but Insane Bourbon Flight, Insane Double Blind. Okay, I have no idea if your drinking buddy has filmed the flight I already got him, but I know he had a huge issue with quite a few of the bottles I gave him, so I'm expecting I'm going to have yet another few issues with the flight he is giving me because, well, that just seems to be the theme going around, and that's what I'm feeling right now. No, yeah, it's so unfortunate because it's such a good bottle. I feel like it should be everywhere, especially with such a huge parent company. You would think that it would be literally everywhere, but I guess not. All right, enough talking. Rules. Let's get into these. I mean, you can't read them from there, but craft whiskey blind. 1 point for the type, 1 point for the distillery, 1 point plus or minus 5 on proof, and then 1 point for state of origin. And then if you guess a bottle, you get a bonus point. So in this flight, I could get a total of, is the math right? 16 points plus 4 bonus points. So in total, 20 points. But again, not expecting any of those. I'm drinking some Old Forester 1910. Hell yeah. That is honestly, it's either that or the Bottled and Bond, which are like my two favorite of the Whiskey Row series. I mean, I love the whole series, except for the 90 proof one. I love the whole series, but like the 1910, if I want something more desserty, it's that one. And if I want something a little bit more traditional track, it's the Bottled and Bond one. That's such a good like little lineup or whatever, their whole Whiskey Row series, because not a lot of whiskey distilleries have a lot of their products kind of translate as well as that one does, at least in my opinion. All right, so A, B, C, D, got 4 bottles in front of me. I need to guess the type, the distillery. What the hell? Distillery. State of origin. And then the proof. And I need to guess that for all of them. Huh. Distillery and state of distillation are going to be difficult. Oh, I wonder if it's a tricky one, though. So this is also a craft whiskey flight. I have no idea what to expect, seeing as how craft-wise, he's in Arizona, so he has access to about the same craft I do. But also, you know, you pick up craft when you go places, so I don't know what his, you know, oh, geez Louise, Bruno, what his collection craft-wise looks like. I know he has some monster Kentucky bourbon hitters, but as far as craft-wise, I have no idea. It's better than Old Forester 86 because I can't stand that crap. Yeah, it's definitely better than Old Forester 86. By the way, hang on, thanks for dropping 4 Leafs. Link in the chat. Fantastic Irish whiskey content. All right. Oh, man, I like Cooper's Craft. All right. Hey, let's pour this SOB. We'll let it sit for a sec, and then we will start reviewing, talking about it. Oh, that smells weird. I pour just a smidgen more. Actually, I have a lot of content to prove tonight. Might not pour so much. Whatever. Might have some Old Forester 100. That's a good bottle. I actually, ironically, don't have one right now for some odd reason, because I went to go try it the other day and I was like, oh, I don't have it. So, ironically, don't have it, but such a great bottle. Absolutely love that bottle. But let's get into this. Hey, gotta do the whole, gotta smell myself, and then that is, I have no idea what to expect with this. This is, since this is craft, it's kind of, the bigger bet is going to be type and proof. The whole distillery state of distillation is going to be kind of a shit show, because this definitely smells crafty, but it doesn't smell like any craft I've had from Arizona, not off the top of the head at least. I brought one the other day. They have been out for a few months. Maybe that's why I don't have one. I don't know. I think it's been a while since I've had that. With a lot of the lower proof, or not lower proof per se, but the more budgety-ish bottles, I'm less inclined to like instantly go back and buy them. Like, I think the only one I constantly keep as far as like Budget whiskeys are Balcones Lineage and Elijah Craig Small Batch. Those are like my two go-to like budget hitters because I don't even have a rye, like a go-to budget rye. Probably like High West Double Rye, maybe that or Emerald Giant. Man, this has like a Play-Doh smell to it. It's like an earthy Play-Doh. Sweet, fruity, earthy Play-Doh. I mean, it smells good. Play-Doh doesn't sound super good, but there's this nice earthiness. There's a nice bit of fruit in there. There's that nice vanilla, but there is something like artificial Play-Doh-y type on the nose. Yeah, for some reason I'm thinking strawberry Play-Doh. I don't even know if that's a thing, but strawberry Play-Doh. Like if you had strawberry scented Play-Doh, that's what this is on the nose. Me? No. Babe, oh my god. If you were gonna get on the live stream and talk shit, you gotta come in here and grab the mic. If not, sit down. Sorry about that. My wife is she works with children, so she's like, "Do you even know what Play-Doh smells like? You don't even know." But yeah, she would know better than I do. But it smells kind of like artificially. I'm saying strawberry scented Play-Doh, if that existed, which it wouldn't, because I'm assuming they don't want kids to consume that. Yeah, make me a sandwich. Is Play-Doh actually edible? You know what? No. If you're gonna show up and be in this conversation, you got to show up. Hey, we got another chair in the other room and a mic. I can plug you in. Just saying. American single malts always have a Play-Doh nose to me. Huh. A lot of the ones I've had don't, but you know, could be. Man, I'm trying to think. I mean, they're like this earthy. Like malt usually has this like dense, like earthy sweetness to it. Make me a sandwich. Yeah. I mean, at some point in my life, whatever. Let's get in the palate of this. It doesn't smell bad though, but it definitely has this whole like crafty, yeah, I guess malty, earthy sweetness to it with like some red fruit. And maybe a smidge of like a smokiness, but maybe that's just me trying to kind of figure out where it's going. Oh no. That is strange on the palate. There is this weird, funky, like grainy, almost like sawdust thing on the tip of the tongue. The tip of the tongue is sawdust. Does it smell a bit sour? Maybe just a smidge, a smidgen. Yeah, it is this like grainy earthiness, sawdust. Yeah, I'll be honest, not enjoying the palate. It is a bit on the too earthy side. A smidge too earthy. I'm very unsure about what I'm experiencing right now. Old Forester Single Barrel versus Jack Daniels. Um, oh my God. No, he wouldn't do that to me. I mean, it's not that proof. The whole Odie thing here. I can multitask a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. They would be so those versus videos would have been like a hot minute ago, but I definitely still have them. I haven't there's like a handful of videos I've deleted. Like I think 2 or 3 I've deleted in my entire time. Huh. I don't see them either. Did I do a video where I compared those? Felt like it was just released. No, it definitely wasn't released a few days ago. You might be confusing me. I mean, I could do a release of what do you say? Old Forester Single Barrel versus Jack Daniels Barrel Proof. I mean, I'll do it Friday. F it. I needed a video for Friday anyway, so I'll be doing that Friday. Does it taste Odie? A little bit. It is tough to find a decent selection of in Texas without really hunting. Have to pick them up while I'm traveling. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in Arizona we got a pretty decent selection, but I could be wrong. I have tasted bad American sing. Yeah, I mean that could be this. Yeah, it's like it's grainy, sweet. It's definitely low proof compared to this, at least. Or maybe it's not. What the heck? Because that goes down like, oh my god, that is so good compared to that. Man, these are all drinking like water to me. Man, I don't know what to think. It might be wheat. I think it might be a wheat thing going on that is messing up me. Castle and Key wheated. No, I have not. They were gonna send me some stuff because I reached out to them the other day to, try to get some media samples because, well, those benefit everyone. Because I get to review things without me having to financially go out of pocket. They get reviews, and you guys get to see my honest opinions. And that's all I ever ask for is just samples. So I think it's a huge win all around. That being said, they never sent them. So who knows? But yeah, I haven't had that. Weeded's not my main go-to thing though. I think it's malt though. I'm getting this malty. It's this malty, earthy funk. Yeah, I'm going type malt, malt because it's grainy. Proof. Go. I'm gonna go 90 proof on that. State Distillery. I have no clue. I am not really digging that right now, though. And we'll revisit that after sample B. All right, sample B on the nose. Ooh. Yeah, it's either wheat or malt. It's a I'm getting this maltiness on it, but it's not a good malt. I'm gonna say malt slash wheat just to kind of cover things up, and then we can, um, you know, cross that line after we try a few things. Ooh, excuse me. Man, are all these gonna smell like funky and weird? I don't know. This could just be me in a strange mood, though, because as everyone knows, whiskey tasting, half of the battle is the mood you're in. Okay, C's good. C smells like a very sweet rye. It smells like that piggyback. Oh, and this smells kind of rye too. Yeah, D smells kind of spicy. It's just B. Yeah, B has this it's this it is a super black banana, like a banana that's gone bad. Yeah, caramels, vanillas. Oh, wait. Here we go. You said Old Forester. Wait, let's see. No, Old Forester versus Jack. Let's see. I've done this before. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can get a link. Oh man. Share. There we go. That is a link to the video. Sorry, I was just staring at a screen of my videos and then I just randomly saw it. So yeah, that is that video. Oh man. This is like banana bread. Banana bread with a little bit of caramel. Yeah. Ooh. I like that. B I like much better. B is enjoyable. It's brown sugar, banana bready. It tastes more like a traditional bourbon. Sweet. That's a bourbon. That has to be a bourbon or like a corn whiskey, but basically a bourbon. Type proof distillery and then state, which I feel like I'm going to mess up the whole state because it's all craft. So, in theory, anywhere could create a really good product. Unless if it's like, oh, hey, they're sourcing things. But man, that is. I really enjoy B. So far, B is my favorite. Like B compared to here, we'll pour a little bit more A and kind of A, B these back and forth. B. Yeah, that is like banana bread. This smells like oatmeal now. What the heck? Oat. I'm just gonna write oat on A because oatmeal, man. What the hell? This smells like, yeah, strawberry oatmeal. And then the palate. Oh, the palate is like very heavy on like this earthy funk thing. That's not our whiskey. Hmm. I think that has a little bit more proof. I'm gonna say that's 95 proof. But it's sipping easy. Has a little bit of this robust attitude, but not too much where it's really proofy. I mean, it might actually be more like 100 proof on that, but I'm going 95. 95 split in the middle. It's hedging the bet because 90 and 100 are probably the two most realistic. So I'm going for the plus or minus 5 points. I'm going for the spread, if you know what I mean. Let's go with C. C. Get a little spin on it. Ooh. Yeah, this smells like the Whistle Pig Piggyback. It's like a candy store. It's a spicy candy store. Yeah, there's that herbal kind of minty quality, but then there's that like ridiculous like nerd's rope sweetness to it. Yeah, there's 100%. I'm going, let's just say type, going rye, proof, going 100, distillery. Actually, I'm going 95. No, I'm going 100. I'm trusting my gut. 100 distillery is going to be no. You don't know we're hedging. We are trying to get points today. Distillery, I'm going Whistle Pig. State, I think they're out of Vermont. And then Whistle Pig 6-year, which technically that is it's a blend of Canadian whiskey and their own whiskey because it says imported from Canada, and I think it says distilled by something, and then here Why are we gonna guess? I'll just grab the bottle. Yeah, so this bottle says distilled by Gomberigo Beverages LLC, imported from Canada. Oh, so maybe it is. It's 96 proof. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, 95. Hedging those bets. But this 100% smells like Sample C. Tastes like Sample C. Looks like Sample C. Quacks like Sample C. I think it's Sample C. All right. And last one on this list, the last bad mamma jamma we're drinking tonight, it's going to be sample D. D is in Delta. D for dog. And we're going to smell this, taste it, score it. Oh man, that smells fantastic. It's just like a Red Hot's candy. Red Hot's candy, a little bit of like a dilly type spice. There's this funk to it though, this like earthy Red Hots. Oh man, now I need to revisit it. It's yeah, that is straight up Red Hots. But I can't decide if that is a corn related whiskey or rye because that is spicy as all heck, but it is not too spicy by any means. Because there is some spice on it. There is that like spiciness. It's spicy but sweet. Because there's this nice vanilla custardy and then like this like hot tamales, red hots type thing in there. Is that a bourbon or a rye? Man, D is confusing. Also, a bit more robust with the proof. If all these are around 90 to 95, I'm going to say this one's probably 100. Actually, no, that's like 1/10, man. That has some proof to it. There's this like spice, like this heat to it, this intensity, if you will. Oh man, this is either a barely legal rye or bourbon with some spice to it, like some heavy rye. I'm going type is going to be I'm gonna okay. Yeah, all Canadian rye. God, that is why is 6-year-old Canadian rye the greatest thing I've ever had? Like as far as rye goes, like that is fantastic. Like it's not really refined super well, but like man, that is sweet, it's spicy, that's a really underrated whiskey. Man, D's a shit show. I'm gonna go rye though, because it's spicy. There's a lingering spice to it. Rye. I'm gonna go proof 100. Let's do 105. There's no way I'm getting any of these distilleries or state of distillation type things. Yeah, hit the likes. Smack that like. Yeah, dude, A is not good. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna go wheat though. I think it's a wheat. Wheat. It's either wheat or malt. I don't think I'm getting any of these bottle guesses or state of distillation or distillery. Wheat, I can't imagine who makes a wheat whiskey. I have literally 2 wheat whiskeys, and the other one we reviewed the other day, Oregon Spirits, which, I mean, whatever. We'll say this is Oregon Spirits Distillery, Oregon Spirit, Oregon. I spelled Oregon wrong, but whatever. I don't think it's that, but that's the only thing I can think of as far as wheat whiskey wise goes. And that definitely is funky. I don't remember it being that funky, but I'm really not enjoying Class A. Like, I could be wrong, but I'm just not really enjoying that. You know, I'm not gonna guess anymore. I'm good with what I'm doing. These are hard. And trying to guess state of distillation, distillery, so on and so forth, we're gonna get nowhere. So let's just cut her open, break her open, and look at what I'm drinking, and then I can just talk about it. All right. Okay, A is a bourbon. Oh my god. Oh! I mean... Oh. We're super wrong on all of these. Okay, so first one is going to be... I mean, proof-wise, our proofometer is not horribly off, but first one, A. The one I really do not like, Yellow Rose Outlaw Bourbon, 100% Texas corn bourbon. So this is a corn whiskey that has gone really far down though. I don't know what you did in Texas, but let's keep that in Texas route because hard pass on that. Man, that was not very good. Proof-wise, I got 1 point. Because it's 100% corn. I went with wheat whiskey. It's not Oregon. Proof-wise, I did 90. It is 92 proof. It might just be because the only Iron Root bottle I've ever disliked was a 90 proof Harbinger. So maybe it's just like Texas bourbon. I need a little bit of a oomph behind it for me to really enjoy it because, man, that was not good. And usually I'm a huge fan of Southwest aged corn whiskeys. I talk about that very often, and that was not a good perspective of it. I can understand why people kind of dislike craft because it's such a huge like kind of guessing game. Like if you haven't tried it before, it's a guessing game of whether you want to buy it or not. Piggyback Rise, yep. Geez Louise. Does it have a signature funk to it? It's just funky, man. It's grainy. It must be super young, probably small cask because there's oak there, but it's bitter. Fan of Piggyback. Yeah, yeah, it's a good one. Bernheim from Heaven Hill. Yeah, I don't have that one either. So B, which I actually really enjoyed. Proofometer wise, way off, man. Holy moly! But it kind of makes sense. So this is a pick, which, man, now that I'm looking for like hints of wheat, they're in there, but it tastes like a wheated bourbon to me. Journeyman, Corset, Whips and Whiskey, Trevor's Pick, Michigan, 100% wheat whiskey, 116.6 proof. That drink's so light. If Glass A was 92 proof and this is 116, that is literally what, 24? Yeah, 24 proof points. And honestly, A drinks relatively just as hot as B does. Yeah, that is just funky. It's bitter. That is, man. Thank you for sending me these samples, your drinking buddy, but A's not good. I don't enjoy A. But thank you for sending me. I super appreciate it, man. I would be curious. I'll text you. I want to know what your thoughts are on it. Ooh. Yeah, but B, that is, I'm getting like 0 points because it's a wheat whiskey, 0 points altogether. That being said, really freaking good pick. 116.6 proof, 100% wheat whiskey. That is great. C, I guessed 95 proof, Whistle Pig, Vermont rye. It is the Frey Ranch bottled and bond rye, which I actually have. It's this. Yeah, this stuff. This bottle, which is, dare I say, freaking fantastic. So, I mean, yeah, two really good, like $50-$60 ryes here. Yeah, Peter White, Yellow Rose. No worries. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming in, hanging out. Old Elk Wheat Whiskey. No, it's that course. Love the Corsets, Whips and Whiskey from Journeyman. Corsets, Whips and Whiskey. I need to look at that label because I bet that's a fun looking label. I see that Journeyman at Tops. They have a few picks. Yeah, Tops has a few things. I was actually there today. They bought some cool limited edition whiskeys from us. Or they're buying, excuse me. Just had the Frey Ranch barrel strength, really good. Yeah, their rye is really good. I like their bourbon, but the rye is it's like a trendsetter level rye. Like their rye really separates them from other distilleries, whereas their bourbon, it's a solid one. So I get 2 points for that. And then the next one, I don't think I get a single point. I did rye. I went 105 proof when this is a 95 proof bourbon. It's 13 Colony Southern Bourbon, Georgia, 95 proof. I went rye, no guess on state or distillery, and 105 proof. Man, I should have gone bourbon. So I get 0 points. So in total, I'm getting 3 out of, what was it, like 16 something points? Yeah, 16 total points. I'm getting 3. 3 out of 16. That is, what, 1 out of 9? No. 1 out of 8? No, that would be 2. It's like it's in between 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5, like 1 out of 5.5. Man, that is rough. I'm out of my game, chief. These were all very weird whiskeys, though. What I will say, that wheat whiskey that I thought was a bourbon, and was insanely high proof, because somehow it drank like ease. This be the freaking the 100% wheat whiskey at 116.6 proof from Michigan. Man, this is the easiest drinking whiskey I've ever had. Like, this is the easiest 116.6 proof. Like, this is, dare I say, borderlining on this could be a huge problem, because man, oh man, there is some proof on this, and it drinks like 95. Yeah, still drinks relatively easy. I mean, now I'm looking, there's a little bit of a bite from the proof, but not like so much. Yeah, they're great, man. I saw the Peralta on the new stuff area at my local Total Wine. Definitely not new stuff, but yeah, support us, please. I appreciate that. Although, hey, you still just gotta come to the freaking distillery, man. Let me know. I will be there. That is now literally my job. Back to vodka. I know, right? That's embarrassing. I mean, I haven't been doing this a lot. I've been more so just more so, I've been more so just sharing my opinions on things, and less like bottle guessing and things of that nature, because that's kind of what I've been enjoying doing recently. A lot of these kinds of things I've been doing a lot of, like head to head comparing things, so on and so forth, because I'm just enjoying whiskey rather than comparing things or whatever. I'm just starting to be like, hey man, I like that bottle. Let's just drink that bottle, so on and so forth. Like, for example, this bottle, I really enjoyed that. I almost bought another one of them today, and then they raised the prices to normal prices on accident or on purpose, which is unfortunate because, I really wanted them. But I would say the only one I did not enjoy was the Yellow Rose. This stuff is getting drain poured, because this is not good. That being said, especially B is probably the most like ever changing, like, whoa, what the heck type thing. The 13 Colony, which was D, I expected I would enjoy that. I know I like the Frey Ranch Bottled and Bond because, well, that's a really good one. And then I'm really surprised with this wheat one, because just wheat is usually, as you all probably know, wheat is usually a bottle or like a style I'm not the biggest fan of. So 100% wheat whiskey at 116.6 proof, and me really enjoying it like this, man, oh man. That is just downright crushable. I mean, there's some proof on the tip of the tongue, but now it's gone. Not that the finish was short, but because it's still finishing, I can feel it. But yeah, blinds are tough. It is what it is. It's 116 out cuts, right? Or 118. Dude, it is far too hot. Man, Yellow Rose to be my mixer of choice when I first started indulging more into whiskey. Jeebus, do you still like it though? Because we've all done things where it's like, one of my bottles that was like a go-to when I first got into whiskey was Lead Slingers, because as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of, Black Rifle and all they do supporting like veteran communities and whatnot. And I think they make really good coffee at that moment too. Um, and I know that was kind of the same guys who kind of relatively started Lead Slinger. So I really wanted to support them. Now I don't even have a bottle on my shelf just because it's boring, man. It is far too simple. Favorite barrel strength bourbon you're drinking right now? I don't know if I'm drinking barrel strength bourbon right now. Let's see here. As far as high proof stuff goes, I'm just drinking like Doc Swinson's MGP. Like that's pretty much been the only high proof whiskey I'm drinking because MGP is a little bit on the lighter side and less spicy compared to like Elijah Craig's and the wild turkeys I typically go for. So just that like 115's blended MGP is like, man, like the not uncut, unfiltered, that's Smoke Wagon. The Blender's Cut from Doc Swinson is like, I would say, probably my go-to barrel strength bourbon right now. Again, just because it's lighter, it's easier, the proof still stands up pretty well. I don't know. I've been drinking a lot of like 90 proof whiskey recently. Yellow Rose of Texas. Yeah. 100% from Masterson, sourced from Alberta, 12-year, 100 proof, not very good at all. Huh, that's strange. They should write a song. Right? After I revisited once getting more into neat sipping, I wasn't much of a fan. That also included the other iterations they have. I'm thinking it's a Texas whiskey thing that I'm not. No. So Jeebus, don't do me like that. No. As you were. Texas is great. Yellow Rose, or at least the sample I just had, is not. So far, the only Texas I've been more fond of is the Still Austin Cask Strength. I would say bourbon-wise, the primary one I would go to would be Iron Root. Iron Root and Still Austin are my go-to bourbons. Malt and blue corn-wise, I say Balcones is pretty good. And I know there are a lot of different little tiny smaller operations out there. I just talk about the ones I personally have easier level access to. So like, for example, I know there's like Lone Elm that they make a lot of wheat whiskeys, and I know their stuff is fabulous. So if you like wheat whiskeys, I would definitely hit them up. Yeah, Texas whiskey is kind of again, it's very much so craft. Like all of these were craft, but not super crafty. Outside of Yellow Rose, I've never heard of them, but like Journeyman, Free Ranch, 13 Colony, like I know a lot of these. I've been in Texas my whole life and helped run a bourbon page with over 7K members, and I don't know anyone from Texas. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because, man, I hate talking shit about Texas whiskey because I really love Texas whiskey, but Yellow Rose is just, man, it is not good. Yeah, I got a lot of Elijah Craig barrel proofs. Now I love them, man. I usually get seemingly about 2 batches a year. So far I've missed the A batch this year, but I got the B batch and I'm hoping to get the C batch because I think the C batch is going to be a very turning point because a lot of people were negative about the B batch because of the age statement change. So I expect the C batch there's going to be less animosity because of the age change because it's not the first one with the age change. So people are going to be a little bit more amped about it. And I hope maybe they'll go even higher in the age change after kind of the feedback from the first one. Who the heck knows? But I'm excited for them as long as they keep their flavor profile of that like darker, more ultra aged flavor profile and they just kind of bottle it when it's ready. I don't really give a crap. Like the age statement, it's an ancillary thing. It's more so the flavor profile. And yeah, of course, if you get 12 versus 10 years, you're going to expect a little bit more oak. But working in a distillery now, I understand that sometimes like you just have that one barrel that like it'll sit there and it just does not take on oak. And then you'll have that other barrel that like is like a year and a half old and you're like, dude, this thing's ready. Let's let her rip. Maybe not exactly. That's an exaggeration, but that's why I love the whole. Whenever anyone asks me, like, it's like, oh, when is your guy, or when do you guys like bottle your stuff? The answer is always when it's ready, man. When it's ready. There's theoretical timelines like of this like age gap when it's like, oh, that's when the whiskey should be ready, but sometimes it has to sit for longer. Sometimes you're like, man, that is great as is. I haven't found Iron Root yet on my list of getting that's being born, and on my list of getting that's yeah. Iron Root is they're my favorite Texas distillery. Man, there's just too much noise going around about it losing the HJ man. Yeah, it's a great value pour. Yeah, for 40 bucks, I would happily drink this for 40 bucks. Yeah. Yeah, because you got to think what they're releasing. So, 13 Colony, craft distillery, they're doing a great freaking job at that as well. $40, that is probably on par with what you would expect out of so price, or we'll call it value wise, price, whatever the heck you want to call it. Um, what like a Kentucky based distillery can make for $30 retail to the consumer, craft distillery like 13 Colony, which is kind of a bigger but still craft distillery type thing, or we'll just call it a smaller time operation. They're going to be releasing things for at least 40, maybe even higher. Because again, you gotta, as things get higher, you gotta add like 10, 20, $30 more, because again, their overhead is so much more, those grains cost them so much more, the staffing, so on and so forth, like lack of automation. Because I promise you, all of these higher uh, time distilleries, like Heaven Hill, for example, Elijah Craig, like everything just it's running automatically, and they just have people checking that kind of stuff. So got to think things are going to cost them a lot more. So 40 bucks for a pour like this, man, I'm dumb happy with this. I would love to get my hands on a bottle of 13 Colony. I'm digging that the wheat whiskey I might actually buy tomorrow, because I'm going to be at Trevor's if it's still there. And the rye, yeah, that's in my area now, so I already have one. And Yellow Rose is straight up just burn their distillery to the freaking ground. That is not good. Listen, kids, making whiskey it's hard. It's real hard. Solid A, the next 13 Colony Double Oak release is only going to be 3,216 bottles. Only. That is a shitload of whiskey. That is like, so I think a 53-gallon cask. Oh man, I bet we could probably do this math, but I think like a 53-gallon cask, which is kind of the industry standard, gets around 250, 300-ish bottles or so. So that is like 20, 30 casks. I don't know. At least to me, that's a lot of casks. A lot. Again, I am very much so craft minded nowadays, and like small time operation, because that's what I'm doing for a living. So I can never really shut off the whole work brain. But man, oh man, that is a lot of whiskey. That being said, if anyone can get their hands on a bottle of that for yours truly, greatly appreciate that, because I know that was an insane bottle for a lot of people. And after just having their just normal bourbon, man, I'm all in. That stuff was fantastic. And that was it at 95 proof or something like that. I would love it at cash strength. Yeah, 95 proof. Man, I'm just gonna spam whoever their marketing manager is until they somehow let me buy a bottle of cash strength. Oh, so I did a blend, and what I will say is this blend is predominantly that rye, the Frey Ranch rye. So take that as you will, but man, this smells fantastic. is worth it. I was able to try it last year. Hope I can get a bottle. And yeah, there is something to be said about like limiteds. Is like limiteds, you kind of want them to be limiteds, and especially with like a craft distillery that gets like notoriety because they popped up around what was it, the start of this year or the end of last year, and like suddenly everyone's like, gotta get my hands on 13 colony double o, gotta get it, catch them like Pokemon or whatever the hell. Um so you got to think like they weren't really expecting that. Everyone in the craft distilling business is like super hopeful. They're like, please catch on, but you never know. So stuff takes time to age and whatnot. So they probably weren't ready to pivot to like oh, people really like this juice. Like for example, the distillery I work for, we are going to start pivoting into making blue corn whiskey full time. That being said, we have currently one cask that we dropped at the start of this year, and that is not going to be enough to make us go full time, full operations with that. So we need to start distilling some pronto, which is a whole nother level of issues. But it's insane, kind of everything that goes into whiskey that you don't realize that I'm now experiencing. Man, it's a crazy industry, and especially when the government gets their like needy little grubby hands into everything, and they start telling you what you can and cannot do and what you can call things and all that jazz. It's like, oh man, it is the freaking TTB and the liquor boards and whatnot. The what is it called? BP? No, it's not the TTB. It's blah, 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 liquor board. I know there's an Arizona one that I've been dealing with recently, and they're like, sucks start my freaking pistole, my pew pew. What are you looking for at Trevor's? I'm gonna be there tomorrow doing a tasting for the distillery. I'll be there. Yeah, anyone who lives in Arizona, why don't you just take your normal whiskey hunting and combine it to going to Trevor's tomorrow from 5 to 7. I'll be there doing samples of some of the Adventurous Stills whiskey. Clint Eastwood Rawhide. I don't think I've seen that. Nothing beats what is it? It's not the good, the bad, the ugly. There's that whole trilogy. I think the good, the bad, the ugly is decent, but I think, is it the prequel or the one after that? I don't know, that whole trilogy. I binge watched that whole trilogy at one point, and I was like, man, this is so underrated. That is such a great trilogy. Oh man, that is good. That is just the random. Oh, the wheat whiskey flunk is on the end, or no, that's a bourbon. Yeah, the yellow rose. Man, that is 100% corn bourbon. Who thought that that was a good whiskey and was like, you know what we should do? We should release this to people and sell it. We should ask people to spend their hard-earned cachet on this garbage freaking whiskey. What the hell? What were they thinking, man? Hanging. I'll be there 5 to 7. Again, hanging. God damn it, dude! If you want to come, uh, like, text me, man. You text me today. Just text me. I will literally, especially like for example, Friday. Like, if you want to come in Friday afternoon, we can hang out for a little while. I think the distillery opens at 4 for like consumer wise and like cocktails and whatnot. But like I'll be there all freaking day. So again, more than welcome to come by. Yeah, anyone who's watching who wants to come in, check out, hang out at the distillery, Adventurous Stills, Tempe, Arizona, please just let me know. I will make it happen because I want to hang out with y'all, and I also want to spread my company, uh, like whiskeys and whatnot, and just hang out. Whiskey filmed in Phoenix. Are you talking about like the good, the bad, the ugly? was also filmed here. Funny movie. I did not know that. I'm going to mix this with a Cooper's Craft. All right, long story short, craft whiskey, difficult. Guessing the type, the proof, the distillery, and the state, even more difficult. Again, the type and the proof is the only tangible thing, and honestly, my proof was close. Proof was the only thing I really like. I got 2 out of 4 on proof. Just because B was a little crazy, and D, I guessed rye in 105 when it was in 95. So I was 10 proof points off, which isn't astronomical. But when you take rye into consideration, it's a bit crazy. Yeah, Cooper's Craft 100. Yeah. This is freaking incredible. I need to somehow get my hands on like a case of these or something. Because I only got the one, and I really don't want to kill it because, well, it's not in Arizona yet. Oh, yeah, no, hanging. I'm hanging. I ain't trying to, shame you or anything. Don't worry, man. I know, yeah, dude, I'm insanely busy as well. So just text me whenever you want to. And if you want anything from Trevor's, also text me. I can hit you, or I can check it out for you if you're looking for anything. They're everywhere here in Indiana. Well, Mike, I'm jealous of you. Because, yeah, when I was in Georgia, when I was in Augusta, Georgia, the greatest place on earth called, man, what is that base? Fort Gordon, the greatest place on earth. I mean, at least it's no for not Huachuca, that's Arizona. Fort Hood, Kentucky. It ain't no Fort Hood, Kentucky. But when I was there doing some training stuff, I saw it freaking everywhere, and I only brought back 1 bottle because I was kind of limited with how much my suitcase could hold anyways. But man, oh man, as far as just like 100 proof budget bottles, I think this might be the best 100 proof budget bottle. Like, there's a reason it has like a mini cult following to it. They filmed a big scene at the Arizona State University. Okay, I had no idea. Keep seeing Stellum around local stores. Anyone have it / have input on it? Yep, I got some opinions. I love Hundo Proof. Yes, yeah, dude, there's nothing wrong with 100 proofers. I mean, again, I've been drinking 90 to 100 proof recently. Like, that's my go-to proofs right now. Augusta National Golf Course. Yep. I'm not a golfer though. So to me, it was kind of and the whiskey hunting was kind of mid. Go Friday. When you get the chance, go Friday. Text me. I can meet you there, man. I'm 5 minutes away. Speaking of Brown-Forman, just cracked an Old Forester Rye 100 proof. Oh man, dude, that is an underrated whiskey. I feel maybe I should make a list of underrated whiskeys because no one ever talks about the 100 proof rye. I need a video idea. What was I doing? Stop. Here we go. Stellum. What I will say, who was it? Jay Whiskey. Oh, thank you for your support, Mike. Again, not much service being done. It's mostly just sitting around training and whatnot, but thank you for your support. No. So, Stellum. Stellum is at least the original Stellum. Because I know they've done like black labels and all other sorts of BS. Stellum was kind of an offshoot of Barrel. This is a cash strength rye, like a budgety-ishy budget version of like a cash strength rye from Barrel. So this is kind of more of their like Barrel's like entry level brand compared to, a lot of their other products like 80, $90. This stuff is like 50, 60. So this is their budget thing. They just do the same like Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee blend. I prefer their rye. I think their bourbon is very okay. But the rye is freaking fantastic. This rye is actually like a really good cash strength rye. Like I put this on par with like a lot of the, ryes around that same price range. Like the Rare Breed rye, which I know not a lot of people love, but I'm a huge fan of. Kind of like the Knob Creek Picks, a Sagamore Spirits rye, like anything that's like a higher proof rye that's around that $60 range. I think it's right there with it. The Stellum rye is great. The bourbon, on the other hand, I think it's kind of it's mid. It's not bad, just not really great. Not bad, it's not really great. So there we go. That's the one. Rittenhouse picks are rare. I had no idea that they were rare. I know you texted me about them, and man, I've just been so busy. I'm remodeling the distillery tasting room right now, and I'm not really a woodworker or anything like that, so I'm way out of my league. And yeah, it's been a freaking week. It's been a week. Construction is, man, that's my father-in-law's game. That ain't me, man. I drink whiskey for a living. Stellum rye, yeah, man, that's great. This talk about Georgia just poured a 13 yeah, man. I didn't pick that up when I was there because I bought too many goddamn bottles, so I didn't get the 13 Colony. I was probably going to buy the rye because I'm a bigger fan of like budget ryes compared to budget bourbons. But man, I'm so freaking disappointed. I need to find a way to get some here. Adventurer Stills has to be just down the street. Yeah. No, literally, it is like a 2-minute drive. I live 3 minutes away from work, Adventurer Stills, and then 4 minutes away from Tempe Marketplace, Total Wine. Is rye easier to make than bourbon? Well, it's the same concept. I don't know. So a lot of the things that make it complicated in the mash is that certain grains are more delicate than others. So certain ones you can add, because basically you take this vat and you add grain, water, you heat it up, you add yeast, and it ferments like that at like a specific temperature. But some grains are fragile, so you kind of have to slow roll them. Like some you add when the water is at like 80 degrees, some you add when it's at 100 degrees. Like it's so dependent on what the fragility of the grain is. So I don't know if rye is less fragile than, corn or whatever the case may be. I think they're relatively on par. Because if I had to guess, you're probably going to be adding corn and rye to the same mash bill anyways, some malt. So either which way, you're adding the same 3 grains. So I think they're probably about the same level skill-wise or competency to make. That being said, I just think rye does a little bit better on like younger sides than bourbon does. Because the rye graininess, to me, it's spicy. It's this like unrefined spice, where this corn graininess, it's more of like this like Play-Doh-y, funky thing going on. So I think rye is it's a better grain for younger whiskeys. That's why like 4-year-old ryes are really good and 6-year-old bourbons are really good. Like usually you'll find that ryes age a little bit less than bourbons do, and they still come out tasting really freaking good. Again, not a subject matter expert on this. It's all speculation. I have mashed 4-grain whiskey. That is a younger whiskey flavor profile that we age for a year in total. at the distillery, and it's a year in X casks anyway, so it's like it's weak year at that level as well. So that's pretty much my only experience. I've done it literally one time at some point I will have done it a lot, so I'll be able to answer you a little bit more competently on this, but for now, what you see is what you get. So I think same, but maybe, who knows? Have you had any river set rye? No, not at all. I have no idea what that even is. I have yet to hear of that brand. Never laid it. Yeah, Peter. I've laid eyes on it and I squandered my ability because I didn't see any limited edition or some like weird one-offs for it. All I saw were the traditional just baseline offerings, and there were a few other offerings I preferred over just a few baseline offerings from a distillery. Called the Triple Buy. Huh. Rittenhouse. I don't even think I've had normal Rittenhouse rye. Here, the Fiddler Georgia Heartwood is very good. I'll be hunting it when I get to Georgia in the September. Yeah, I've yet to try that, but I've heard it's really good. Can you think of many companies who make great rye and so bourbon? Yeah, again, hanging. I think it might be an aging thing, where I think younger rye is a little bit lenient with younger or more of a youth profile, where bourbon is less susceptible to it. I have 70 bottles of rye and some are backups, but it is my whiskey of choice. Yeah, I think the more I get into whiskey, the more I'm moving away from bourbon. Nowadays, if I'm getting a bourbon, it's like a finished bourbon. Like Amarana casks, I'm all over right now. Or it's like a blend, because I've really been enjoying a lot of the barrel like batches. I'm about to get barrel batch 35 here in a day or so. So I'm really excited. That'll likely be next week's live stream. I'll do like a barrel live stream because I think I'm going to get their bourbon and their rye. So I'm excited to try both of those. But yeah, I'm kind of starting to get more into rye recently, even during the summer, which is strange. Makes a great old fashioned. I can see that. I've seen the regular and the shells, but the single barrels are harder to find for myself at least. I think it's the same folks that do Blue Notes. Are you talking Stellum? I don't think Barrel's the same people who do Blue Note. I could be wrong, but I dare say is herbaceous. Man, we need to like crowdfund me a website and like an LLC, because I really want to create a merch store where I can just get shirts that literally, like, the only shirt we're gonna have just says herbaceous, or it's like I'm feeling herbaceous, or I'm feeling spicy. Yeah, I think bourbon corn, I think it's very, very good, but I just don't think I've lost the intrigue in the bourbon world. I love the fact that I can get a really good bourbon for a cheaper price, but now that I have so many good like 50, $60 bourbons that I really enjoy, I'm just not that into them anymore. Like I'll rebuy bottles like Hill, but it has to be something exciting, like a finished pick, to like get me interested in it. If not, I'm gravitating towards single malts or freaking ryes recently. Like that's what I'm into. That's what gets me going. Although that being said, Doc Swinson's, I just bought their Cash Strength Alter Ego the other day, so we're gonna be doing another Doc Swinson's live stream here in probably like 2-3 weeks, maybe 4. Who the heck knows? I'm so far behind in content as far as like whiskeys I've bought over the last month, but haven't reviewed. Like I need to do a what is it? Maker's Mark review where I review the BEP. I have this bottle. You know what? We've been doing a craft thing. Let's just send it. Whatever. Let me get a bottle. We're about to review a bottle of whiskey. Jeff the Creek. Ugh. Oh. Whiskey review time. Let's freaking go. Yeah, citrus, rye, the citrusiness. Rye is freaking great. I love rye, man. It's weird. Like younger rye almost fits the summer better than like some of these younger bourbons. The Riverside, I think, gets made by the same folks from the guys that do Blue Note. Oh, I've had one Blue Note and I enjoyed it. I think it was like Blue Note Juke Joint or something like that, but I enjoyed it. Didn't get a bottle though, just had a sample. I like this. Yep, I love those, man. Yeah, yeah. That's the one I bought. I bought another bottle of Bossa Nova, and then I bought the. Ooh, I bought the. I'm a little drunk to be saying or doing any of this, but I bought the Cash Strength Alter Ego. So we're going to take this review super serious. Because this bottle was sent to me and I love that it's a craft distillery from Kentucky. I love rye, but 2 to 3 pours and I have a headache. It is killing my... Huh. I don't... Maybe you're just... Like, do you have that same issue with bourbon? Because I've never had that issue. Yeah, the uncut, unfiltered is good. And they're typically store picks. Okay. Sorry, the dogs are doing some weird things they should not be doing. Oh, hey, buddy. Okay, so bottle we're ending the night with a review of is going to be Jephthah Creek Born and Raised Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 98 proof from Shelbyville, Kentucky. So this bottle was sent to me by the people behind the brand, but in no way, shape, or form are they, buying a review. They just sent the bottle to me so I can actually review it. Branding wise, super cool looking bottle. It has this like little like oak tree thing and this little kind of Trinity triangle thing right here. You probably can't see it super well in that. I'm trying to make it show up really well. But either which way, really cool kind of inlaid glass. So this is a interesting mash bill, which when companies send me whiskey and they send me cards like this for it or like samples, I freaking love it because I nerd out on the information now. Because the more I get heavy into the whole whiskey industry, the more I'm getting into like, hey, what's the stats of this barrel or bottle? Like, what is causing this? Huh, that is so strange that rye does that. I need to pour out some samples. Yeah, well, hit me up, man. We'll make it work. Stuff you didn't do. Yeah, I would love an MGP blind that I have to have any of their stuff because I like MGP and I want to find someone I really enjoy bottling MGP outside of Doc Swinson's and Barrel. Because right now, those are the two people I'm fanboying of. I thought it was going to be Smoke Wagon, but Smoke Wagon to me right now is kind of a subpar version of a Doc Swinson. So they can get effed. So let's see here. I'm not going to look at the tasting notes. So this is a 4-grain bourbon. It is 49% ABV, also known as 98 proof, MSRP is $49.99. The mash bill is 70% Bloody Butcher heirloom corn, uh, 15% malted rye, 10% malted wheat, 5% malted barley. Oh, sweet. There's a little learn more QR code. Let me see if I can learn more. Because I'm fixing to learn everything I can about this. I'm fixing to get her done, Chief. All right, let's see what this says right here. I want to find an age statement on this. Oh no, their learn more is literally the same exact stuff on the card. Oh, except for a click here to read the story. Yeah, we don't need backstory. I'm sure the backstory is exciting, but just doesn't get me hot and bothered. So, unknown age stated. Let's see if there's an age statement here. Our family motto from ancient Scotland is Ni Oubli, which loosely translated, don't forget where you came from. Jeptha Creek is the embodiment of the maxim as we honor our family, state, and local heritage. Yep, that means nothing to me. Let's see. Yeah, nothing about an age statement or like at least X amount of years type thing where it's like aged at least 2 years, whatever the case may be. Yeah, not seeing anything like that. So, unknown age statement. I assume wine kills me. Whiskey in general never gives me a headache. Yeah, that's what I found. So, when I first started working at the bar at the distillery heavy, I got really into making mixed drinks. And then I stopped really quickly because I noticed I was getting like headaches and I was like feeling gross and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I'm not into this. Doc kills. Yeah, Peter. That's yeah, it was like Uncut Unfiltered's decent, but man, Doc Swenson's claps every cheeks. Also, I forgot the what was it? Backbone stuff was actually really good too. But here we go. Jeptha Creek. The Creek of Jeptha. 4-grain bourbon. I do like that they're using a Bloody Butcher corn in the mash bill. I don't know how much that is going to change things because I know that's what, or I think that's what Iron Root uses primarily as well. And I'm a huge fan of Iron Root, but also very different terroirs compared to Kentucky. Ooh. Nose is sweet. And obviously, I've had a pour from this beforehand. From memory, I remember it being decent. Best whiskey I've have tasted still was Wild Turkey 101, 12 years. Liked it better than Master's Keep. Huh, what Master's Keep? Hanging. Yeah, well, you're a sucker for those 100 proofers. Hang in. We are releasing 100 proof whiskey that I think you're going to freaking love because I absolutely love it. And it's 100 proof. We're releasing our Cherry Bomb Rye, but at 100 proof because it's the last cask. And man, oh man, I'll buy a bottle for you because it's incredible. Obviously, when we release it, it'll be next week. This has this like youthful vanilla, this black pepper, like black peppercorn. This nice like clovey smell, this nice baking spice. It's a spicier type bourbon. Thoughts on St. Alley, blended or Iron Root and MGP, various wine finishes and Nobleman. I don't own any. That being said, I've had quite a few of their different actually, I think I've had all of their offerings from one way or the other, and honestly, I really enjoy them. I know it's, man, he's a YouTuber who started that brand. It's a YouTuber who kind of partnered with, Iron Root in order to make them, and so it's kind of like a partner brand between him and, Iron Root. Either which way, I think it's good. I think it's good. It's kind of it's like, the what is it called? The what am I trying to look for? The Still Austin stuff in a way. It's that because Still Austin to me is kind of a blend between Texas and those non-traditional whiskeys, and that's what it is. It's well blended, nice finishes. It's good whiskey. I really really enjoy them. I know they're oh man, my nose is leaking. I know they're a Total Wine solely distributed company or brand, but man, I think they're really, really good. No, if I did, I would own one. I will be in Kentucky the last week of August, and Jefferson Creek is on the Jever. Okay, yeah. So I'm giving a kind of fast and loose review of it, but yeah, hang it. I think you're gonna like it, man. Next week, yeah, maybe we should text me, man. We'll come up with some little plansies. Yeah, or I mean, I can't release it until next week, but yeah. Well, wink, 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 wink. So 4 grain bourbon. It's a spicier, more um earthy, spicier type bourbon. It's a little bit on the youthier side. You can definitely get that little bit of like corn, funky youth going on. Like you can tell there's it's definitely like a sawdust. There's a bit of like sawdust in the air, which is a very visceral tasting note for me, saying how I've been cutting wood often this week. So I'm very aware of that smell and whatnot, and it is living with me. Ooh. Oh, that hits differently today. That is interesting. Non-traditional. It's definitely on like that heavy, like baking spice flavor profile, or that like baking spice funkiness and kind of like earthiness of a Kentucky whiskey. Man, I kind of enjoy that they're in Kentucky, but they're kind of doing a non-traditional style Kentucky bourbon. 4 grain, it's spicy, it's herbal, baking spice. What's the mash bill again? Malted rye. It must be that. So that malt must really be bringing in that like earthiness, because it's an earthy, spicy bourbon. You can definitely tell it's not the oldest whiskey on the block. I would probably say like 3, 4 years old. But that earthy vanilla really covers up a lot of that youthiness to it. I, dude, I'm a buy. I am a buy verging on a bar. So I'm not a pass on this. I really enjoy the flavors going on. It's a little extremely non-traditional. That's why I'm kind of verging on the bar. It's non-traditional. It's different. It's a little exciting because it's non-traditional, but it's nothing extremely exciting in the realm of American whiskey because it's mostly just earthy baking spices. So like I get something similar off of this, what I would like a rye like a barely legal type rye in the world of American whiskey. So I think I'm a buy if you're looking for something that is a very different kind of whiskey or different kind of Kentucky bourbon from what you're used to seeing out of Kentucky. But if you don't know kind of what your flavor profile goes for and if that's something you would be into, I would say this is kind of a buy verging on a bar. So I would say try it if you can. Maybe go check. I know they're obviously very small compared to a lot of Kentucky distilleries. So I'd probably check them out, go to their tasting room before you buy it. That being said, I do enjoy it. And I'm actually pretty freaking happy that I have it at the bar because this is the only Kentucky bourbon I have that is, again, not that stereotypical, like traditional Kentucky bourbon. This is fun. It's interesting. It's definitely more of a crafty bourbon, which very much so fits with the night, which I'm really surprised because I did not think I would enjoy this bourbon as much as I did, seeing as how I kind of when I first tried it, I was a little underwhelmed, if you will. But this right now, it's hitting the right spots. I'm actually really enjoying this compared to how I previously was. Yeah, it's that funky baking spice thing that happens about like a quarter way into the palate. It goes like from this like heavy dense vanilla to this like funky oak and baking spice and like intrigue that really makes it exciting. It's spicy baking spices, it's oak. There's a bit of a nuttiness to it. Like it gets interesting. I'm pleasantly surprised and pleasantly enjoying this bottle right now. Oh, hey, Bourbon or Bruno Bourbon. Jeez Louise, I am a little toasted. I mean, we have been going for an hour and a half, and me just talking for an hour and a half usually ends up with me being shit faced. Oh, you like that, buddy? But yeah, any closing questions before y'all want to see me hop off? Regarding this Jephthah Creek, I would say this is a buy for me, but it's close to what I would say is a bar. So if you're kind of loose with your money when it comes to whiskey, I say just buy it. If you're more conservative and you're like, hey, I'm not trying to waste money on whiskey, say bar it. All in all, though, I pleasantly enjoyed this bourbon. $50, I think, is fair because it is, again, another craft distillery. So you got to pay that craft tax or craft, upcharge, if you will. It's not an upcharge just because they call themselves craft. It's an upcharge because their overhead and their cost per barrel is significantly more than a lot of these major distilleries, which is a misnomer in the whole craft thing. Like a lot of consumers think craft is just a little bit more expensive because, oh, hey, it's craft. So it has that like coolie term or whatever. It's because it just costs so much more money per bottle for them to produce compared to like, Jack Daniels. Like they produce barrels like pennies on the dollar compared to a normal distillery is like, oh, hey, that whole mash is thousands of dollars, where it's like to Jack Daniels, that's like nothing. Or to us or other craft distilleries, we're like, that's a pretty big freaking deal right there, Chief. Yeah. Yeah, it's the hour of the dog. Hour de dogo. Nope. That's rough. Yeah, yeah, I love the craft distilleries that still are producing good products. Yeah, it's worth the upcharge, like not every craft distillery has like the wherewithal or the ability to make really good stuff, or some of them are making really good whiskeys, but they're charging like 120 some dollars. So hang in. I don't know if you've seen this recently, but there is this newer distillery in Arizona called Redwall. They're in Sedona. Coolest distillery, nicest freaking equipment there is out there. But they're charging $130 for a bottle of like 3 to 4 year old whiskey. And it's like, what the heck? And that's at like 100 proof. So it's not like it's cash strength or anything like that. It's like, man, your place looks great. I love how you're passionate about trying to get the greatest quality out of your whiskey as you can. But man, you were definitely offloading some of your costs on your consumers because a 4 year old 100-ish proof whiskey is not worth $130 in any market, even craft wise. So if you make really good whiskey, it is definitely worth the upcharge to an extent, because there's two roads. It's either like you're way overcharging for your stuff, or your stuff is just like it's not as good. Because some of these craft distilleries are like charging way too much money for really young stuff, which is just, it's unfortunate. It gives craft a bad name, if you will. So I like those distilleries that do really, really good jobs, but also don't overcharge their products. Like I know Hangin was talking about how Santan Distillery, they distill some crappy stuff, which arguably, yeah, they don't make the greatest stuff ever. But that being said, value wise, they release some really, really good budget friendly whiskeys. I don't love a lot of their stuff that I've had, but what it is doing, like they're producing readily available, budget minded craft whiskey where it's like not everyone can produce that many units of whiskey where, some people can. Not talking secondary prices. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, hanging. That's pretty much what I'm getting there. Again, I'm gonna visit there. I'm probably not gonna buy a bottle because your boy isn't doing that well with the YouTube channel to freaking buy that much for a bottle of whiskey. But I'm gonna visit there. I'm gonna experience it. I might even do the tour because it's a really beautiful facility and all that jazz. So may do the tour even though I really don't need to do another tour in my entire life. That being said, I may still do it. So now that we're done talking about craft whiskey, this was a fun flight. I really enjoyed it. I mean, 3 out of 4 in a blind flight that someone sent you, I think, is a good ratio of whiskeys to like. Because, you're not, especially craft themed whiskey. I like it. I like it. I like the, here, let me, so I don't have to paraphrase. So, no duh, Frey Ranch Rye, bottled and bond, 100 proof Frey Ranch Rye, fan freaking tastic. One of the greatest craft ryes that are currently like kind of in that market where they're expanding out of their state and whatnot. They're freaking phenomenal. So if you can get your hands on a Frey Ranch bottled and bond, buy that shit. I think they're around 60-ish bucks MSRP. Worth the money. Freaking fantastic. Journeyman Corset Whips and Whiskey. This was a local pick, 100% wheat whiskey from Michigan. I really, really enjoyed that. That is a dangerous whiskey because the proof went down way too easy, and I'm definitely freaking feeling it because of that. 13 Colony Southern Bourbon from Georgia. Also really, really good. Yellow Rose is a straight up drain pour, burn down their freaking distillery. I don't care. No, don't burn down their distillery. That's messed up. But either which way, their stuff is not freaking good. That is a straight up drain pour. Stellum Rye, worth the buy. Really enjoy it. Cooper's Craft, fantastic. Like I said, Frey Ranch, bottled and booed. Buy that stuff. Whistle Pig Rye, really enjoy that as well. And Jephthah Creek, a very non-traditional Kentucky bourbon. That being said, I still think this is pretty good. It's just definitely more, if you can imagine, because when we think Kentucky bourbon, we think more of a traditional kind of non-crafty vibe. This is definitely a craft bourbon that happens to be made in Kentucky because it definitely has those crafty markers. But if it was in literally any other state, I wouldn't be like, huh, this is kind of a weird type of whiskey. It'd be like, oh, this is a craft whiskey. But when I think Kentucky, I think of like those heritage distilleries. But it's a craft distillery from Kentucky, and I think they're doing some fun stuff with this bottom one. I would love to see it a little bit older, just a smidge, like a year and a half or maybe even 2 years older, because I think it's a little bit on the youthier side. That being said, I still think it is pretty freaking good for what it is. Oh man, I am definitely toasted. Yeah, Corbin Cash is not cheap, but they're 6 year, 123. Yeah, Corbin Cash is fantastic. But yeah, dude, rye. It's a rye. Just like this, because this Frey Ranch, I think, is like 4 years old. Man, freaking great at that age. Just subscribe tonight. Great live. Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, I was like, your name seemed new, but some of these times I get, sometimes I'm super good and I don't drink a lot, and sometimes I drink a little bit too much. And I was kind of testing cocktails before this, so your boy's a little toasty, McWosties. But yeah, thanks for coming in. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, like, comment, subscribe to this video. Also, check out everyone who has been in the live stream who has a YouTube channel like Four Leaf Whiskey and so on and so forth. Especially your drinking buddy as well, who sent tonight's live stream contents. It's been a really fun live. I mean, obviously, I'm toasted. I had a great time. Sacred Stave is the one I don't like. Santan. Sacred Stave isn't Sacred Stave just their whole whiskey brand though? Just talk to me offline because I gotta land this plane. Trips, yep, that would be freaking awesome. All right, guys, that is a wrap for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for coming and hanging out. This has been Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Cheers, y'all.